The new meters are gonna be solid state, will be use ultrasonic technology, so there will be no parts to wear out.
These mechanical meters, what'd you say the lifespan, 8 to 10 or 8 to 12 years?
You can get 12 to 15.
12 to 15, but I know we pulled some that's a lot older than that.
Oh, yes.
Some have some issues with that.
Yeah, a lot of cities do this exact same thing. Water meters are in the ground, and they forget about them unless they have a problem with them.
This, the system that you're talking about, so as far as like the meter reading, so we've got people that has to go out and read these meters, takes like 4 days.
2 people, 4 to 5 days.
Yeah, so this system you're talking about, how many people does it take?
0. This system is a total AMR. It is totally automated. So when it takes you 2 people, 4 or 5 days, will now be done automatically every 4 hours. So the system will be one of 2. 99% chance you will have a cellular base, but there is a chance you could end up having a fixed communication system. The meter itself will store data in the meter for about 45 to 60 days. Every 4 hours, it sends that data to the system wirelessly, and then that system keeps all that data. So a staff member, the only thing they'll have to do is download the data, put it into Encode. I think it's 3-step processes, and then your water bills are ready to go out. So you're talking about just reading. That's not rereads or anything else. These systems are smart enough that they have sensors. So if somebody tampers, cuts the wire, it loses connectivity, it will notify the city that. If somebody tries to bypass the meter, and this happens, and I can bring you one to show you what it looks like. If this is your meter, they go on the city side of the meter, tap a line in, run it around the meter, sometimes it's a garden hose, put it in there, and then no water goes through the meter. If that happens, this system will detect that there's no water, and it will send the city a no usage notification. Well, you're gonna know if somebody should be using it, if it's a vacant house, staff will know that. So that's the type of system. If they tamper with it at all, it will send you an alert.
And so I'm gonna assume that, the smart meters instrumentation on will probably, well, I'm gonna ask, would it help us pinpoint water leaks better as well?
It can. It depends on how sophisticated of a system you want to buy. So I can tell you, the system that we put in Jacksonville, we had pressure readings at every single meter. And many of you may have heard during Snowmageddon, whatever we want to call that storm that was a year ago, last February, we were actually able in Jacksonville to locate where our water leaks were because of the pressure. And so instead of having a boil water notice for a larger portion of the city, we were able to isolate where the leak was, and our boil water notice affected 100 people. So there's a lot of things that we can do. City of Lufkin is putting in leak detection and valves. So if that's something that is a concern, we can also look at another option. Each one of these meters, the technology is getting better, and so we will get with staff or however the city wants to, and you get to select which meter you want and what features you want on it. If that's something that's important to the city council, it costs money, but I think the project can handle it.
I think you were saying, if we do decide to go with this, that the meters were out like 6 or 8 months, you'd have to order them, and they'd be 6 or 8 months out from the time you put in the order.
That's the last information we had on a conference call Tuesday. But that number is fluctuating. This isn't a real large order, so they may have a gap and we could get them in potentially 2 months. I do not want to sit here and promise that to you because lead times are a problem. The one thing that we can address sooner than later is your TCEQ in the sewer plant, because there's things that we can do immediately, there to help that problem get alleviated.
You said the meters are electrical, how do they get power? I mean,
No, they're ultrasonic, they're not electric, so there is no power. I mean, they've got a small battery to operate the communication device, but those are guaranteed for the life of the meter, which is 20 years with us.
this meter will just go right in the same spot,
Yes, sir.
same manhole cover.
Yes. What we do in most projects like this is we will put in a certain number of boxes. So we get to replace a certain number of boxes, and then we can replace a certain number of lids. We've had several cities that says we want every meter to have a new lid. And we want 50% to have new boxes. So that is something that you can give us direction on what you think your community wants at the end. And another question that comes up, and I'll go with that, is what kind of warranty when the meter gets put in? So we will go a 3-foot radius around the meter. So any damage that is done 3 feet towards the customer side of the meter, or 3 feet towards the city side of the meter, will be the responsibility of our subcontractor. And they will damage lines. It's underground construction. Things will happen. The biggest complaint we will get during the installation, and I live this, so that's why I can tell you this, is they will knock on the front door. In today's environment, a lot of residents don't want to answer the front door. They don't know who's there. And so they will knock on the door, nobody will answer, they will begin the meter replacement. And their water will go off. So if they're in the shower, or they're in the middle of washing clothes, that will be your number one complaint. But we will tell them the time frame that they're there, and then we will knock on their door prior to the installation. And if it is not a good time, we will come back. Eventually, we have to do everybody's meter. So we ask people to be as realistic as they can. If they're getting kids ready for school, daycare, stuff like that, come back at 1 o'clock, they'll be back at 1 o'clock that day. We've dealt with individuals that had work nights, police officers, firefighters, EMS personnel. If they let us know when not to be there, we will not show up at their house. They just call the city hall and say, I'm on every third day, please come on this day because I won't be home. Or please do not come until 4 o'clock in the afternoon because I work 12-hour rotating 12s for the police department. And at 5 o'clock, I'm waking up. They will work into the evenings. They will work Saturdays if this council allows them to. If you don't want them working at night and on Saturdays, then we won't. But if you will allow it, they'll work daylight to dusk, or whatever time the council sets.
All right, one last one. All right, so in the event that this project did, get executed, with lead times on everybody now being extensive, would it be possible for us to request a certain percentage of spares from you guys to keep on the shelf here? Or that you can stock in a warehouse, let's pay for it up front and have it in the event that something fails?
Yes, that's part of our contract. So you will have shelf stock of a certain number of meters, a certain number of whatever pieces you need to have. When this project is over, you will have a percentage of those in stock. 5%, 10%, that is part of the final negotiations that we'll do, and we'll put a total number of meters. But yes, you will have stock. And that's a great question. Because there are cities now, I talked to City of Clute this morning, and they did a project like this, I think 3 years ago, and they're having a new subdivision, and it's taking them 4 months to get meters. Now, the good thing was, the developer started early and they ordered them in plenty of time, so when the meters are needed, they have them. Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Any other questions? Blake, have you ever dealt with one of these type of contracts before? Just
None of my cities have,
have that?
but I don't anticipate that being a problem. I mean, you know, Greg's company deals exclusively with governmental entities. I'm sure the contract that they like to use and that they do use is, I'm sure, drafted in a way that is consistent with what our legal requirements are. So I don't anticipate that being a problem, but to answer your question, I have not seen one of the performance contracts.
Any other questions? Anyone? Now we're over to fees.
Continue to move forward?
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Let's do it later.
Okay, at this time we have the consent agenda, which is our approval of minutes from last meeting, August 2nd, 2022 meeting. What's the wishes of the body?
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion approved. And a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes 5-0. Under business, discuss and take action on raising Overton Volunteer Fire Department call-out pay from $10 per call. I know this was addressed last month?
Yeah.
Last month, and, you know, Mr. Thompson at that time wanted to raise it. They were asking for $10, and you suggested raising it $15, and they said at that time, no, we just want $10. So, we gave what they wanted, so what's the wishes of the body at this time?
We didn't ask for it, we're good with 10.
Okay, I don't know why I talking about agenda. Action, no action, what? Put it on the agenda. Move the question.
I requested put on the agenda as we looked into the budget for this coming year, it looked like our lowest, with our 10% projected raises of employees, it looked like our lowest paying employee was gonna be about $15 an hour. I would have just liked to have seen at least the fire department that operates their own vehicles, their own time. TJ, y'all may answer this, but what's y'all's average time on SIMs?
It just depends on calls, medical calls, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. Grass fires could be 3 or 4 days. Structure fires, I'd say about a minimum of 4 hours.
So basically, I put on the agenda just to have it about competitive pay with the lowest paid employee in the city, $15 an hour. So I was recommending to take action to bump it to $15 an hour $15 per call down.
Motion.
That's what. I agree with you, that's why I recommended it in market, but they declined it, so.
Well,
No,
so
no
we
offense.
declined it on the.
No offense, y'all give us 15, you're gonna zap what budget we get already. That will wipe out everything. So, we gotta pay for fuel, that comes back out of our fund. Thank God for Russ County and ESD pay for everything else. So that's why we're staying with 10, so if we come up with anything, we got some money to pay for it. My guys are happy with 10. If you take 15, then the city ought to be happy for the ESD that keeps us running. So that's why we don't want it.
I'm struggling with
So we had a motion, Lee, we have a second?
Who motion?
Hmm?
Who motion?
I don't think anybody made
You
a
know,
motion.
you just suggested, okay,
Just suggesting my motion made.
what is the will of the body? Okay, I'm gonna take it, that as like a motion. That is like a
We could-
motion.
We could go from the, $10 to $15 call out. I'll make the motion.
Sir?
I'll make a motion from the $10 call out to $15 call out.
Whatever you wanna do, but they're defining it.
They don't-
They're defining it.
I don't even know why this is on the agenda. My God. People need to communicate.
You made a motion. Do we have a second? Okay, motion dies from Mike a second. Discuss and take action on purchase of equipment, Overton Volunteer Fire Department. Whatever the body wants to take, we can pay none of it, we can pay half of it, part of it, we can pay all of it. Said that pay much $10,000, so. So, like,
Motion to approve the agreement that the fire department puts $10,000 toward it, the city cover the rest.
fire department pay what?
10,000.
$10,000.
Second.
That's your money.
Yes, sir.
We have a motion and a second for to pay for it, so I guess that would be $27,000 for our part, assuming that.
Is that correct?
At 27 and a couple $100.
Okay. Whatever it is, mine's 10,000,
Right.
okay. Any discussion?
So, are we able to withstand this at this time? We don't. Phil?
I mulled it over overnight, we're good with it.
Mr.
I thought
Mayor,
about
I've
it
got-
Sorry.
overnight. We're good with
So from the date of purchase, like I said, lead time 6 to 8 weeks. We get billed whenever the tools ship. So the fire department, the city, whoever will get an invoice, back to your, can we wait till the next budget? So we don't have to pay that invoice for 90 days. So that will put us into that October timeframe.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
thank you, sir.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
me personally, and this could be getting a little bit down the weeds, but I would like to see more than one quote in writing with a detail of exactly what we're buying before we spend $30,000.
Okay,
I'm not, I think we need it, or I think it'd be great to have, but we need to know what we're buying.
okay,
And make sure that we're doing our due, or that, in this case, the fire department's doing their due diligence to make sure that we are getting the best bang for our buck.
okay. Any other discussion?
Was that page not disseminated to council that I submitted with the request
Sir,
from DACO? The quote from DACO, was that not submitted in our packets?
All I saw was just the request to be on the agenda.
I see it on the email.
Was that just one quote, or was that competitive bids?
That was one from DACO.
Okay, so it
provided.
wasn't more than one.
No, just DACO.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, any other discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. Okay, motion passes 3-1, one abstaining. Discuss take action on one-time stipend, $500 for water supervisor, 5 weeks of work, use personal truck without, while the city vehicle has been in the shop. I know we've had several of the city vehicles in the shop lately, and we're finally getting them out, but, it was Rick had to use his personal truck. Go ahead.
No, we're not.
No, get him out and then find out we gotta have more work done on what we've done. But I know Rick had to use his truck
I wish
check
we had some
wells and everything else for at
1965
least
stuff
5
to work
weeks.
with.
For at least 5 weeks, and it might have been even a little bit longer than that. I can't remember when, before he took off, sick, whether he had to use some there. Whatever the body would like to do.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Who was the second?
Josh.
Josh.
Have a motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Discuss take action on police department purchase agreement with the state to purchase a patrol vehicle from them. Mr. Poole, I'm gonna let you speak on that, tell us, I know what it is, but I'll let you let the rest of the body know.
Yeah, this is something.
No.
Yeah.
This is something Captain and I discussed. The state is their police vehicles go offline more frequent than the cities because they have more money than we do. They offer now I'm not talking about the vehicle we talked about last month that I want to purchase separate. This is another deal. We already got approval for the other. So, this is a one-time lease or purchase of $1,000 for one of the Tahoes that would come back to the city that we could put back on patrol. We can actually pay $1,000 for the vehicle. I think for another $100, they'll give us 3 more pieces of equipment. The catch is we have to utilize that vehicle for public safety for a minimum of 3 years. At $1,000, you could sit back there in the parking lot like the rest of them for 3 years and make money off the scrap. If that's what you need to do. But I think it would be a good plan. Some of what we have out here, a couple of these other Tahoes, one was in a wreck the other day. We're gonna try to keep them, get that one fixed. It wasn't our fault, so some of them cost the city money. But what I do wanna do as well is take one of the older ones out here and eventually park it down at the school so we have a police unit visibility, at the school.
Motion to approve.
Who was the second?
Richie.
Okay.
A motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Discuss and take action on purchase of 10-20 Tonics to be modified as secure storage area of evidence storage for the police department. Mr. Poole.
Just stay up here.
Okay, the council passed months ago, the old chamber building being given to the city police department for us to move our agency from here downtown, closer to school, closer to businesses. That didn't cost us anything, but the move will. And I know it didn't get in y'all's packets, but we did get quotes from IT. We're looking at about $17,000 plus labor, right, to separate the PD from the city. As y'all well know, for probably ever, you've been working city and police department under the same server, which is, I think our batteries did, which is not something that you would normally see in a city. We have the equipment, or we have the privileges that we have only because we have a firewall and the state kind of turned their head like that a little bit so we could continue operation and get it there to begin with. One of the things that we'll need and what's on the agenda here is an evidence room. Well,
those stairs, we can utilize that for something, but upstairs, but I don't necessarily think we need our employees having to go up those stairs constantly. We get somebody hurt, you know, fall, I'm not another officer or employee, we're, you know, paying workers' comp. I won't think we have the money for an elevator right now. So, the logical solution for an evidence room would be to pattern after art, bring a Connex box or a shipping container in, attach it to the building, finish it out inside, and we're rolling. It's still gonna cost, but you're looking at about 2350, 2400 for a Connex box. We've got the lumber already donated from, the kind gentleman at the hardware store. When they ripped that out, we went down there and got a trailer load of it, because I don't projecting this to happen. So we've got that, it's still gonna cost, we'll have to put air conditioning in it. We'll also have to put air conditioning in the server room when we get the server down. So, that's what we're looking at. We either wanna proceed with it, or we don't wanna proceed with it. I'm at a point now to where we're kinda gonna have to make a move. Basically, with us getting hooked up, since we transferred over to Smith County Dispatch, with the Spillman system and all the other things that we're trying to get hooked up on, there's no need in doing it now if we're going to relocate. Because then we would have that much more changes to make and more money to spend. So,
Motion to approve.
it's just a matter of rolling.
Have a motion and second, any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 5-0. Discussion on 2017 audit city finances. That's yours, I guess.
Of course, we had the 2016, it was brought up in council here a month or so ago. David Godwin, our auditor, he said that, we talked to him last week, and he's real close to having the 17 finished. It's kind of based on what information we get him as far as from now to what, Monday or Tuesday?
He'll be here Monday.
Be here Monday.
Monday
And
for the
so-
field work.
We have found a lot. I mean, you'll find a box that says 2018 on it, and it's like to be 7 years worth of stuff all crunched into one box. And close the lid on it, put on a shelf. So it's very labor intensive. We're gonna work to the weekend. No, I'm not gonna work the weekend. Somebody's gonna work the weekend. And hopefully we'll be ready for it Monday. If not, it's gonna push us out further. But if so, he'll have this audit done pretty quick. He said, sometime in September, is that right?
Should take him long.
Yeah. So we'll just cross our fingers and hope that happens. If it does, that's good. If it don't, we've done the best we could, and we'll wait till he can get back to it. He'll have to service some of his other clients for a while before he gets back to that. But hopefully we'll have it ready for him.
I think David said after this next week, when he does the field work here, that he'll be over 95% finished with, the city's part of it. And then it'll be him finish up in the office.
This
They
was,
told me about a month and a half, so 6-8 weeks.
this was supposed to be one of the real hard ones, like 2016, so keep that in mind. The 2016 was several years waiting on that, so, I think we're moving, even if we don't have the stuff ready for them, like what we hope to have, I think we're still pretty far ahead of the game.
Discuss and take action on approving resolution authorizing the city to enter into a cooperative purchasing agreement with the interlocal purchasing system, or TIPS. This is what Mr. Smith was talking about a little bit earlier, that you can get, Greg, would you like to make a comment on that again? Tell me what all you can buy, I've got sometimes.
So TIPS is a nationwide purchasing co-op, very similar to HGAC, Bible, and stuff like that. It costs the city nothing to join, but it will give you access to all kinds of purchasing power better prices, quicker turnaround time, for everything from vehicles, heavy equipment, to stuff like that. Buildings, I mean, they do it all. And so it is just part of the process that it costs you nothing to join, and it'll give the city benefits. Whether you do a project with performance services or not, it's a good thing for the city to be involved in, because you may need to make a purchase and you have to be a member to use tips.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Mike Paul. A motion and second, any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 5-0. At this time, the Overton City Council will convene an executive session to discuss the following matters authorized by 551-074 of the Texas Government Code regarding personnel matters, including employment, evaluation, reassignment duties, discipline or dismissal of a public officer or employee, and it's 8:30.